To say that Star Wars had a major effect on the world of genre cinema is an obvious one. Having not grown up with the series myself, I only got around to watching the original trilogy when I was 17. Needless to say, I do love these movies. The stories are undoubtedly the hero's journey, yes, but the sheer confidence in the execution of the characters and world building sets Star Wars above many other sci-fi movies that tried to replicate its success. When the first movie opened back in 1977, it drew in $775 million at the worldwide box office against an $11 million budget. So of course, they were going to make a sequel. One that I believe, like the first Star Wars did, changed sequels in genre movies for years to come. Today we'll explore that, and through analysis, discover what it takes to write a great second entry in a series. This is The Empire Strikes Back, the perfect sequel.
Not true. That's impossible!
So what makes a great sequel? More action? New characters? New challenges? All of the above are true, but it's not enough. Sequels should not simply repeat a previous entry's story, but in order to be cohesive, should approach similar themes from a different angle. Writer K.M. Weiland did a great article on 5 guidelines to writing a sequel, and whilst that article was applied for books, in this case, we're going to apply it to The Empire Strikes Back versus the first Star Wars. A good opening is key in making any story work. You need to find a way to draw your audience in just like you did with the first one. You should open with a moment that's key to the main character's arc in the movie. Empire does this by opening on the planet of Hoth, in which Luke is trekking through the snow. It's a nice counterbalance to his opening on sunny Tatooine in the first one. By showing him in a vastly different and harsher environment, we're already taking Luke to new places. A common concern amongst writing sequels for writers is how to catch the reader up to speed without info dumping, and in the article, it's described as being an easy fix. Simply treat it as backstory. Think of the backstory you had when writing the first entry, and now make the first entry your new backstory. In the events of the first Star Wars movie, our new backstory has become Luke and Han joining the rebellion with Leia after blowing up the Death Star. After the loss of Obi-Wan Kenobi at the hands of Darth Vader, Luke goes on to continue his training as a Jedi. It's a natural progression of the characters' arcs in Empire. It's only natural that the audience will want more of what made your first entry great, but simply repeating the events won't be enough. Ideally, the stakes in a story should have an evolution in the sequel rather than be repeated. In the article, it suggests to take the achievements of the main character in the previous entry and turn them into consequences for the sequel. After blowing up the Death Star, Darth Vader assumes command of the Empire and is coming after Luke and his friends. Because of his victory over the Empire previously, Luke believes he can take on Vader. But during that fight, we learn that's not the case. Luke's overconfidence ultimately becomes his downfall as he's quickly beaten by Vader and then discovers the truth about his father, which ups the stakes for the future as well as creating further consequences for this movie. We're left with the assumption that it doesn't matter if you're good. Anyone can fall to the dark side. It's important to make sure supporting characters are given their due as well, and Empire does that masterfully. Leia and Han are developed further with their own separate arc regarding their relationship as characters, and for the whole movie, they're arguing near enough all the time. By having these strong personalities clash, it consistently creates tension between them that gets a payoff at the end when Han accepts his fate in being frozen in carbonite.
I love you.
I know.
It should be noted that in the original script he was to say "I love you too," but Harrison Ford felt that Han Solo wouldn't say that, but he ends it in his own way. One of the hardest parts of writing a trilogy is making each entry feel separate but still work as an overall narrative. There are 2 ways to do this. The first way is to know everything that happens before starting, but the article acknowledges that this isn't always the best way to do it, especially in the case that the reveal Vader was Luke's father wasn't originally planned. The second way applies much more to Empire, in which it says cohesion is key regarding conflict and themes. The main conflict of Star Wars is good versus evil, and one of the major themes is redemption. However, in Empire, it successfully blurs the lines between what good and evil truly is, creating a more interesting outlook that will later be paid off in Return of the Jedi. Empire shows that seemingly good characters can do bad things when faced with conflict, something shown with how Lando Calrissian is threatened by Darth Vader. But it also shows that seemingly bad characters can do things considered good. Despite Vader ultimately being seen as evil, he is the only character in the movie that gives Luke the answers he is searching for. At this point, he's not interested in defeating him, but being able to bring him to the dark side and join him. The very fact that this is a blur raises questions of what good and evil truly is. And even though we're left on a cliffhanger not knowing what's going to happen, we're left with more questions than we had at first, therefore drawing us into Return of the Jedi, which will conclude these themes and conflict. Empire Strikes Back is not only one of the best sequels ever made, but I feel one of the best movies ever made. It shows characters we love facing new challenges and sets up further conflict to come. It took the chance of having the good guys essentially lose and ending on a low note rather than a high note, but it gave us questions for the future. And that's what we love about fiction. We love seeing characters grow, face new obstacles, and further develop as a result of overcoming that. The Empire Strikes Back is not only a great sequel, but a great lesson in writing sequels. And to me, that's what the best fiction does. The Empire Strikes Back is the perfect sequel. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this and happy Star Wars week. With The Last Jedi coming out, I couldn't resist doing a video about Empire. So I'm going to be working on the final essay of the year now, and I want you guys to be a part of it. All you have to do is send me a 10-second video to the address in the description telling me why you love storytelling. Also, I'm going to be working on some videos telling you all about my book Moonflower, so look forward to that next year. Thanks as always for watching, and until next time, may the Force be with you.